this jumped out at me. Shohei Ohtani might be the most valuable player to his team in all of professional sports. I'm going to tell you why. Because he cost the Dodgers nothing. And I'll explain what I mean. So he makes $70 million a year, but he only gets paid $2 million per year. The other $68 will be paid at the end of the contract, which is 10 years long. So Guggenheim Partners, which knows how to invest money, is going to take the $68 million that they owe him each year, invest it, and I guarantee you they'll make money on it before they have to give him a $68 million. So it will cost them nothing. And you're thinking to yourself, how's that possible? How did they convince him to take just $2 million in present-day money? How? Well, it came out yesterday. You know what Ohtani will make off the field this year? Off the field. $125 million. He is only the fourth athlete in sports history to make over $100 million in endorsements. The other three, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, and Steph Curry. That's it. So amongst some of his sponsors, Japan Airlines, Seiko, Hugo Boss, New Balance, and there are others. $125 million off the field. That's why he gave the Dodgers that deal. And Artie Moreno of the Angels should be embarrassed. He offered the same deal to the Angels because Ohtani doesn't like change. And Ohtani was not chasing championships because he wanted to go back to Anaheim. He did not want to uproot himself. Get used to another team, another organization. He said to Moreno, you give me $70 million a year for 10 years, defer 68, just pay me 2, and Moreno turned it down. Now, when you look at 125 off the field, there's not a player in baseball that makes double digits in millions off the field. The closest to Ohtani are Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper, and they each make $9 million in endorsements. $9 million. So Ohtani makes $116 million more than those guys do. And they're the tie for second in the majors. So when you look at the Dodgers and the stuff they could do and they throw $60 million at Kyle Tucker, Sportico came out the other day. You know what the Dodgers generated in income last year? In revenue. Over $900 million in revenue. The money pouring in from all walks of the planet. They just sold the naming rights to the field at Dodger Stadium to Uniqlo. Ohtani has helped them print money. The next closest revenue-generating team, according to Sportico, were the Yankees, and their revenue was $650 million. So the Dodgers are generating $250 million more in revenue than the New York Yankees on a year-by-year basis. So when you look at their payroll and you look at their revenue sharing that they give out and the tax they have to pay, you know what they do? They yawn. They yawn because they can afford it because of Ohtani. Ohtani has turned the Dodgers into a veritable gold mine. And when you see the Dodgers and their ability to spend over $700 million in payroll when you include taxes and revenue sharing, that's why the owners are fighting for a cap, because no one can do it. There are teams that generate revenue, like the Yankees generate revenue, but it's not $900 million. It's $650. It's $650. And everybody else is way, way, way below those two teams. And John Heyman reported today that all 30 owners are solidly behind demanding a cap. Now, even if the Dodgers say they are and they don't really believe it because you're taking away their greatest advantage, doesn't matter. If 29 teams are in on it, the Dodgers have no say. And Steve Cohen seems to be in on it. And the fact that the Yankees are in on it, behind it, and the Red Sox and the Cubs, all the big market teams, that makes me nervous. That maybe this time, the owners don't cave. That they really will dig in their heels, and even if it costs the 2027 season. The one thing that I would like to plead to both sides, make the sausage. Don't tell me what's in it. I don't need to go through the process. I don't need you both spitballing at each other in public. Let the fans that love baseball enjoy this season without worrying about next season when it might not happen. Because once you're airing your dirty laundry in public, fans are going to get upset. They're going to take sides. They're not going to be able to enjoy the greatness that goes on the field. So when Heyman says all 30 owners are firmly behind a cap, and he said right now it looks like they're looking at $280 million for a cap. Who knows what the floor would be? And the fact that the small market teams are cool with the floor, so the floor might be 170. And when you consider there are teams that have under a $100 million payroll, that's a lot of extra money that they're going to have to spend. But we don't need to know what goes on behind closed doors because you know what? It's not a popular vote that's going to end up making this collective bargaining agreement. If we all had to go to the polls and vote which side, then yeah, make it public. It doesn't matter to us. Find out a way to split those billions of dollars. It shouldn't be that hard. One final thing about the WBC. We don't know when the next one's going to be. It's usually every 3 years. But it's negotiated with the collective bargaining agreement. So until they do that collective bargaining agreement, we don't know when it's going to be, whether it's 2029 or 2030. And Manfred threw out there the other day that he would consider having it in the middle of the season. But Alex Cora, who is managing the WBC, he brought up a really good point today. He said, I don't know if you could have it in the middle of the season. Then he was asked why. And he said, well, the other countries are involved. They have leagues. The Japanese leagues going on at that time. The leagues in Latin America, also, there's leagues going on at the time. Mexico, the same deal. He said, this is only for the major leagues. They don't care if the major leagues have the successful WBC. They're not going to stop their league for 2 years. He goes, so if you don't get or for 2 weeks, if you don't get the agreement of those other countries, then this just becomes players in the major leagues representing either the United States or the country of which they're from. It doesn't become a true global event because there are some players in Japan that don't play in the major leagues that played for Team Japan. And there are players in Mexico that don't play in the big leagues that played for Team Mexico. So it's easy for us to say, well, the perfect time is at the All-Star break, which is what I think it is. But there are things that have to be figured out because you're not going to stop other leagues from playing. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Chris in West Orange. Hey, Chris. Christopher once, twice, gone. Let's go to Alex in Belmar. Hello, Alex.
Hey, Michael. First time, long time.
Welcome aboard.
Hey, so I had a quick question or inquiry about Volpe along with a fun Friday hypothetical here.
Okay.
So, Volpe, he's going to his fourth year. I know he was hurt a bit last year, but, I think as us Yankee fans, a lot of us were, prepared to see, all-star season every year. And if he puts up like a 2.5, 3-war year again, do you think the Yankees maybe explore trading him or maybe moving on, especially with Lombard, right there in AAA?
Well, you know what? I think they take a 3-war year. Only the judges of the world have a 9 or a 10-war year. If they have a 3-war year, that means he's 3 wins above an average shortstop. Now, if you tell me he's going to have a negative WAR, I look at this, Alex, and say this is a make-or-break year for him with his future with the Yankees.
That's the way I look at it. Like, this is where he's going to establish himself. If he's going to maybe put up a 3 WAR, maybe play the rest of his contract out until he's a free agent with the Yankees. But if it continues, I can't see them offering him an extension or a long-term deal.
But one thing I would say, I'll let you bring your other point. A 3-war year, you're underselling it. They'll take a 3-war year from the shortstop. But Gar, what was your other point?
Oh yeah, so I was going to say it's a little fun hypothetical I thought of. So, what do you think the likelihood would be higher of the Yankees getting a mascot, or B, the Yankees selling the naming rights to the stadium? And what do you think the fans would be more upset about?
Well, it's funny, Alex. When George Steinbrenner bought the team, they did have a mascot. It might have been right before he bought the team. It was right around the time the transfer from CBS to George. They had a mascot called Dandy, which was an ugly, I mean, you could look it up online, an ugly mascot. And it just went away. I don't think they'll have a mascot. And I'm not sure I don't think they would never, ever sell the naming rights to Yankee Stadium. But they might sell the naming rights to the field, just like what the Dodgers did. So the Dodgers realized the value of the words Dodger Stadium. So they didn't make it Uniqlo Stadium. But what they did was they I don't know the exact dollar amount they got, but I'm sure it's in the tens of millions, if not the hundreds of millions. It's going to be Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. And I've been telling people in the Yankees front office for years, do whatever you do to make money. I mean, people got upset with the star patch on the sleeve, which I think makes them $20 million a year. And now they're over it. You don't even look at it. You don't even notice it. I don't think they would ever sell the naming rights to the stadium, but it does make sense now. The Dodgers have kind of cracked the seal. Sell American Express Field at Yankee Stadium. Now, Delta's all over Yankee Stadium, so it's kind of like their name is synonymous with Yankee Stadium. I'm sure they get a good penny from them. Same thing with Madison Square Garden. I believe Delta is also a big part of it. So you could sell naming rights without actually changing the name, and I think that's what a lot of teams have done. But the Dodgers now, it has to, every time there's a game, it'll be the Dodgers against the Reds tonight at Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. So your question, what would anger fans more? I think changing the name of Yankee Stadium would anger them more than a mascot. But I don't think either one of them is going to happen. Let's go to Chris. Give him another try in West Orange. Chris.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
All right, much better, much better.
What's up?
Just wanted to call in. I know you were talking about context earlier, right? People say stuff and you guys look at context, and I think that's a great point. I kind of want to put it on you and spin it on you a little bit when you talk about the NBA versus the MLB.
Okay.
You're talking to a big certified baseball hater, so I'm just going to go ahead and get that out the way.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about kind of the World Series ratings, and obviously you talked about the last 2 years, right? The Dodgers being in 2025, and then the Dodgers-Yankees crushing the NBA Finals, obviously, right? But the NBA is very, very star market driven. And when you go back 2023, 2022, 2021, when you had teams like the Warriors, Celtics, even Nuggets, Heat, Bucks, Suns, like it killed the MLB because MLB had Braves, Astro, and like Astros, Phillies. So I would just caution Ohtani is a once-in-a-world kind of generational talent. He's going to drive a ton. But if the Knicks make the finals or, like, LeBron's in the finals, I don't think, like, MLB is going to crush NBA finals like they did previously.
Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
Sure.
Oklahoma City had the guy that was going to win the MVP. One of the great players you'll ever see, right? In SGA.
Mike, can I say one thing real fast?
Sure.
I'm an NBA fan.
Right.
A lot of people in the NBA community do not like watching OKC play. Like it is just they're not like a appealing kind of product. So I would not say.
So here's the second thing.
LeBron. Okay. Sure.
Baseball crushed the NBA Finals, and essentially, Chris, they had only one team that was rated. The Blue Jays don't watch the fans in Canada that root for the Blue Jays. They watch on TSN. They don't watch on Fox. So that rating is somewhat skewed lower in the States than it would be if it was Dodgers against the Red Sox. Then I think it would really be a huge number. But when you put the Canadian number in and the Japanese number in, it's 51 million to the NBA 16 million. I really believe, and you're talking to a guy who loves basketball. Now, I love baseball more, but I love basketball. So if I wasn't able to watch those final games, I DVR'd them and watched them when I got home from the stadium. That's how much I love basketball. But basketball is losing some of its luster. Load management, tanking, you're pushing people away. Pushing people away. And one other thing, Chris. Leagues that are hot, they are market proof. Huge ratings for NBA Finals when Cleveland was in. Cleveland. Huge ratings. Kansas City Chiefs, small market. They play in the Super Bowl. Does it matter? No. Doesn't matter. And I know you're a big NBA fan. You would have to admit, they're on a little bit of a downturn with the tanking and the load management when you don't know from game to game if a guy's going to play. So, I mean, look at the Knicks tonight. The Knicks are playing the Nets tonight, right? Josh Hart scored 33 points against the Pacers. He's not playing tonight. Something about his knee. He just scored 33 points. Now, Jalen Brunson didn't play against the Pacers, had a stiff neck. He's playing tonight. So my question to you would be, if the Knicks were in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against OKC, would Josh Hart play tonight? Damn straight he'd play tonight. If the game against Indiana was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, would Brunson play? He certainly would play. So they're overprotective with these guys because, I'm sorry, the regular season doesn't mean much. They pretty much scream that it doesn't mean much. They don't care if they have home court advantage in the postseason. So all they want to do is get in. So they're not going to fight and claw to get the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed. The Knicks proved last year they went into Detroit. They beat them 3 times in Detroit. 3 times. David in Puerto Rico. David, what's up, man?
Hey, Michael, I just wanted to say thank you for how you've handled this WBC conversation. You know, I grew up in the Bronx. I lived in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I just moved to Puerto Rico in October. And it's really tough to watch Major League Baseball here. It's really tough to watch any sport, and there's not a lot of allegiance to. You have some fans that, of course, because of Clemente, are tied to Pittsburgh. You have some fans that are tied to the Mets because of, you know, the history of Puerto Rican players. But the way that these people were fascinated and glued to their televisions, rooting on their teams, it really sort of made me, as someone who, like I said, grew up in the mainland, was really blown away by the fact that it just comes down to culture. And, of course, what we've seen politically, what's happened in Venezuela, what it meant to them to root for the people that – it's about bragging rights. It's about the fact that Kike Hernandez knows when he comes back to Puerto Rico, yeah, sure, it's great that the Dodgers won, but playing for the pride and playing for their homeland, where they were born and where they were raised, I think you just really handled the conversation really, really eloquently, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It's a conversation, David, that sometimes is fraught with peril. You know, I'm not trying to insult anybody, and I'm not trying to insult the way one culture handles celebration and the other one doesn't. I'm not trying to insult the fact that they literally wrap themselves in a flag. I was being more nuanced about it, and just that it shouldn't be equated with life or death. It shouldn't be equated with you know, or conflated with the military. Military is real life, man. Those people put their lives on the line. Sporting events are not military endeavors. They're just not. And some have tried to turn it into that, like what Hitler tried to do in the 36 Olympics in Berlin. It's not. He was trying to like promote the master race and stuff like that, and then Jesse Owens kind of stuck it right in his face. I think that governments sometimes use sports stars conveniently to trumpet their greatness, but that, to me, it doesn't work. You are what you are. Your country is what it is. It has nothing to do with whether you win or lose in international sports competition. Let's go to Eric in Florida. Eric.
Yeah, Michael, good afternoon. Good to hear your voice. First, I actually had the honor of meeting you in person right before the pandemic. The question that I wanted to ask you is, will the Yankees have a local television home aside from the regional sports network? Yes, they used to have games like My Pix 11, My 9, CBS 2.
Well, I certainly I can't predict the future, but I would probably say that's unlikely, Eric, because of the fact I think we do 130 some odd games on Yes, and then there's 21 on 21 on Amazon, and the other ones are national television games. I might be off a little bit. It could be 128 on Yes, like 20 in Amazon. I don't see it happening. I mean, because Amazon owns part of Yes. So those 20 games that they get, they're pretty important to them. Because I think that the Yes Network could probably sell games to PIX or to one of the local stations and make a load of money. But there's a commitment to give those games to Amazon. And then, I guess the only ones on free TV, well, the games that are on Fox. And the games that are on NBC now on Sunday. Those would be the only free TV games. So, again, I can't predict the future. I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Let's go to Joe in the Bronx. Joe.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for taking the call.
What's up, Joe?
I just wanted to talk about kind of the randomness of baseball. If I told you before the WBC that in the final game, USA, with 9 of the best hitters in the world, would have 3 hits and wouldn't score their first run until the 8th inning, would you believe me?
No, but I will tell you one thing that this did illuminate, Joe. The greatest hitters in the world, the greatest, are neutralized by the greatest pitchers in the world. They just are.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that all the Yankee fans, and I'm not going to lie, kind of before the tournament, I was kind of one of those that say, oh, we need to surround Judge with more talent. I mean, it just shows that at the end of the day, the lineup is hot or they're not. If you took this exact lineup and they played in 2 weeks from now, they could score 25 runs every game. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it just kind of shows that, it is kind of a crapshoot in the playoffs. It's kind of whatever team's hot and whoever has momentum. So I just think that, it's just so random that you have 9 of the best hitters in the entire world and they can't score a run until the 8th inning.
Hey, I mean, when you add in pressure and big-time pitching, the thing that you would, if you want to debate is that, Eduardo Rodriguez certainly has his moments. He's not considered an elite pitcher, and he shut him down. And the guys they're bringing out of the bullpen, they're good. They're not elite. I think pitcher and pressure does affect people. One of the arguments about Judge, well, look at Judge's postseason numbers. They're below his regular season numbers. Well, most players are that way. In the postseason, you're facing the best pitchers. The people that want to jump on Judge, check out Mookie Betts' postseason numbers. Go ahead. I'm going to take a break in a moment. Check out Mookie Betts' postseason numbers. But he's on a team that had other people around him. It takes a village to win a championship. It really does. And, in fairness to the United States team, Venezuela didn't score a lot either. Neither did the Dominican Republic. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyeballs. And the pitching, for the most part, is top flight, and it's hard to score. It's hard to get hits. And when you say, in the past, you've hoped the Yankees would surround Judge with more talent, they scored the most runs in baseball last year and hit the most home runs. There is talent around him. Giancarlo Stanton, when he's healthy, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to have 500 home runs. That's a Hall of Fame player. Ben Rice is really good. Bellinger is really good. Jazz Chisholm's really, really good. He's surrounded by really good players. Now, are you going to surround him with an Aaron Judge? No. But it doesn't matter because he still will hit 50 home runs. I mean, how many players out there would you bat behind Aaron Judge and the manager would say, I'd rather pitch the Judge than that guy? I don't know if there is one. And when they did have Juan Soto, they didn't bat Soto behind Judge. They batted Judge behind Soto to give Soto protection. Baseball's tough. Putting together a team is tough. A lot of things that we don't even consider, that they have to consider.